I'm going to talk about deep hierarchical reinforcement learning to manage the trade-off between sustainability and profitability in a common pool resource system. So common pool resource system is a natural system exploited by humans, subject to negative externality. So it's when harvesting a resource diminishes its value for the other users, and non-excludability, when it is difficult to control the access to the resource in the absence of a well-defined property right. So this kind of system is subject to the tragedy of the commons, when individual over-exploited behavior lead to more extreme behavior and so on. So it leads to faster destruction and limiting the long-term earning of every exploited man. However, if everyone restrains their use of the resource, an optimal sustainable level can be reached and benefiting to the whole population. So I'm working off a project studying fishing activity in Corsica. Every main exploited species are vulnerable of the IUCN vulnerability scale. So fishermen, the project studies specifically 6 main species of interest, but the Corsican exploitation use something like 50 species in the commerce. Also, the inshore fishing jobs are threatened, so we need to propose computing tools to improve fishing management, to conserve or increase the economical yield of fishermen, and reducing the ecological impact of their activity. The main issue is we have a big lack of knowledge on every species, and it's difficult to acquire data in a marine environment, especially when we have 50 species of interest. So it leads to a lack of data and inaccurate data. And because of the multi-species exploitation, it's impossible to be accurate on each one. So our contribution is decision-making based on low knowledges and data in this kind of context. So we use a simulation based on a bioeconomical model, and we need to consider two-scale learning. The decision-maker one, who will try to find the best quota to apply on each species to don't destroy them, and the fishermen who will try to maximize their own earning. So decision making will be based on direct observation of the catches of everyone, and we need to test the effectiveness of this approach on a different kind of exploitation to be sure the approach is can be generalized in over one. So the biological model we use is a population dynamic one. Population dynamics studies the individual number variation in a population during a period of time. So there is a different kind of model, the structural one and the global one. Structural are very precise on every species, considering the size of the mass of every individual in the stock, so separation in class of size, for example. Global model consider every individual as identical and being a part of a global stock without differentiation between the individuals. They have the advantage to need fewer parameters and data to be calibrated, but of course they are not very accurate, and it leads to impossibility to test complex strategy like we could try in a structural model. But the specificity of Corsican exploitation makes the data acquisition hard. So using a global model like the Ram-Scheffer model is preferable in our case. So it's a very simple model using a differential equation of the biomass over time and another equation to compute the catches at a time. With 4 parameters, the balance biomass in a unit of mass, the growth rate per time unit, the saturability or catchability of the species in our area by a time unit and the initial biomass of the stock. So why using learning methods? In this kind of system, we can try to use classical model calibration and after that using dynamic optimization to manage the system. But here the model have a lot, maybe an infinity, point of equilibrium. So here I represent all the solution with 5% of uncertainty of the data at the left. With only 5% uncertainty, we can see that the scale of the parameters are restrained. So it can be applied in a robust optimization system, but with something like 30% uncertainties, all the solution space are covered by a solution, so it's completely impossible to use this kind of model. But in marine exploitation, 30% uncertainty is a good result of the sampling, so it's very difficult to consider that. So with small uncertainty, robust optimization manage uncertainty with a good result. So I represent here the biomass variation between the best scenario and the worst scenario, and it's quite close. But like I said before, with more than 10% of certainty, is very difficult to use this kind of strategy. So we propose using learning method to learn directly from real-time fishing data. So the population dynamics are unknown in the system, so we know the population dynamic to compute the future state of the system, but the actor in it can't use this information. So they are hidden parameters of the system. Also, catches follow probability distribution and are unknown too, so we doesn't use the equation of catches here. We use it only to compute the experience of the probability distribution, but it is probabilistic and not deterministic like in the model you usually use. So we have a partially observable Markov decision process where fishermen interact with the environment by choosing where to fish at every time step. They will receive observation of their catches, their earnings, etc. And they need to estimate the state using this observation. So fishermen will choose in which area to fish at a time step, applying the effort on every fishes in the area. And they will have an observation with a probability 1 because it's their own of the catches in where area at which time step and the earning they give with that action. The other one will also choose in which area to fish and have a small probability to observe the behavior and the result of the other one. Using that, they can compute a belief matrix on what they think about the environment, each area, and will use that in a learning process. And decision makers will interact only one time per year to determine quota on every species for a year. And they will use the observations they have about the system. And for each fisherman interaction with the environment, decision maker will have a small probability to observe that. And we can manage to know which sampling effort to do in reality by observing the different result of the result with variation of that probability. To be coherent with the environment, we use 3 different types of probability law. It's also useful to avoid overfitting and be the system less sensitive to real catches variability. So using the data we have, we find 3 different types of probability distribution for different species, so based on a normal, log normal, and beta distribution. The problem with phishing is, with multi-specific phishing, is that in the data there is a lot of zero. So we can't use a simple normal or log normal distribution and need to consider not a tail effect. It's really something like 70% of zero in the data, and the other 30% follow another distribution. So it's hard to use this kind of data directly from a statistical or optimization strategy. For the learning process, we need to generate environment coherent with the reality. So we use economical data to determine constraints to follow for generating the environment. So we use constraint optimization process to generate environment following the four constraints. I say that to represent the economical data. And the evaluation is based on a gain variability to ensure difficulty of resolution of the process to be coherent with every kind of real environment. And also we use one environment per episode to reduce overfitting. We also consider different kinds of phishing activity, so where when gear lead to different kind of exploitation. So selective exploitation, where a fisherman can choose to focus specifically on one species, on a non-selective exploitation, where a fisherman cannot select what they fish without killing a not-desired one. And also, previous historical activity can lead to different initial situations, over-exploitation, under-exploitation, or maybe highly variable level of stocks when some species are overexploited, some other are underexploited, and other are maybe at the best level, for example. So the learning process, I will not detail the learning process here because I published it in the article I cite here. Just quickly, it's in input I use the Bullis matrix of fishermen for fishermen learning and of decision makers for decision makers learning. It's a two learning process different. The structure of neural network is quite simple with 6 fully connected layers with a ReLU activation function. I choose this kind of architecture because it's a real number in input and not that many real number. So using this kind of simple structure seems coherent. I also try to use LSTM to directly use the observation in input, but I think because of the vanishing gradient problem, it's not useful here. It's not very good. So maybe it can be a perspective of amelioration for the future. But here, using a Bullis matrix, it seems more efficient. So I tried different kind of algorithms, 4 based on DQN, the DeepQ network, and 3 other, soft actor critic, A2C, and PPO for proximal policy optimization. And the proximal policy optimization algorithm seems to be the more efficient in this kind of system. So the aim here is to study the impact of greedy behavior, so the behavior of people who will not follow the recommendation. So it will depend of the exploitation level, the greedy rate, so the greedy ratio, between 0 and 20%, representing the ratio between greedy fishermen and fishermen complying with the recommendation. Also, we introduce the variability of the effort that fishermen can give to every area between half of the optimal one. The optimal is represented by the EMSY, and the half over the maximum to consider the activity where we don't have any knowledge about it, For example, it can be the non-professional fishing. We also define the economic attractiveness of each area. So it's the ratio between the earning of the area and the sum of the earning of every area. So the greedy policy is defined as using the more attractive, using area with probability corresponding to the attractiveness, and the final policy is using the PPO policy with a probability of 1 minus the greedy ratio, and using the greedy policy with a probability GR. So on selective exploitation started overexploited with an effort capacity limited to the half of the MSY. Even with 20% of greedy weight, the biomass reached a stock level very close to the MSY after 10 years. But in my figure, sometimes the scale are in the other sense to be to have a figure more legible. So also for an effort limited to the MSY, the stock level reached are much lower but evolving in the right direction. So maybe with more time, we can find the best solution to the long-term exploitation. Also, gain per species for this kind of reputation with an applicable effort of the half of the MSY and without greedy behavior increase, but even after 10 years, they remain between 50 and 65% of the optimal gain. So we can't use this kind of strategy. And for an applicable effort of the MSY, however, the gain grow rapidly and eventually reach between 70 and 95% of the optimal value. And when the greedy rate increase, although causing a little loss to environmentally friendly operator, it causes a large variation in the homogeneity of the attractiveness of different species. So, for example, with 20% of greedy weight at the figure of the white, it causes significant variation in the effort applied as a function of attractiveness over time to greedy weight at 0 at the left, where is more uniform. For non-selective exploitation, the exploitation is stabilizing at a viable economical level even after, even with high greedy weight for an optimal effort. And with 20% more effort at the right, the stock are increasing but stabilizing to a non-optimal one. So maybe in this kind of strategy, we need add control to avoid this kind of behavior. The exploitation of area with high economical potential seems to allow sufficient gain even during the restocking period at the left when the optimal effort is applied. But however, the stocks with high economic attractiveness are overexploited. So a compromise must be decided between improving the majority of stock and a slight decrease in those allowing economic stability. So in conclusion, individual knowledges and observation can be enough to a recommendation system for comportment of the fishermen. It seems that this approach can be effective in every situation. Also, high rate of greedy behavior can have a serious impact on the effectiveness of the strategy. So maybe in this kind of system, we need to add control to be sure that the strategy will be respected. In such case, a limitation of the applicable effort is not sufficient because of greedy behavior have a strong impact on vulnerable species with high attractiveness. So also in this system, we need to add control comportment. This is all the more accentuated when it is difficult to select exploited species, typically in the Corsican exploitation. And in a situation of overexploitation, it seems that even with a certain rate of greedy behavior, restocking is possible. In perspective, marine biology is a much more complex system than what I represent here. So we need a model complexification. we must take into account that the market and seasonal effect make the exploitation of certain species at certain period more or less profitable. So it have a highly impact in some economic result. Also, whether historical data can help learning the seasonal effect or the behavior of fish with a migration between area, for example. It can also help to reduce the risk of a fishing activity. And the fishery management and the increasing of the complexity of model and the learning method seems to be essential in the future, especially with climatic change. And learning based on direct observation with historic observation with LSTM, for example, rather than calculate belief matrix, could make the method more generic and propose emerging strategy that decision maker, real decision maker, could not think for now. So thanks for your attention.